Everybody, welcome back with the Blapper. Platypus is the name, and welcome to another Persona 5X video. Today, in case you didn't know, if you go into the exchange, go into your phone, go to the exchange, go down to the challenge rewards, and go to repression medals 4, they have added 3 new personas for Wonder, the main character of the game. So, initially there was just King Frost, Bishamonten, and Melzizibizibik. All right, so they had these 3, and now they've added Lilith, Chernobog, and Yoshitsune. And I'm kind of here to talk about which of these should you get first. Kind of what's the order I think I would recommend getting these, assuming you're going to get one of each. So we'll go over the 3 new personas really quick, and we'll kind of just talk about which of these ones I think you should get. Also, my last video, I kind of got flamed for picking King Frost, for suggesting people take King Frost. People were like, what are you, stupid? People got like, and then King Frost has been, I still think King Frost is the best out of all of these almost. I still think King Frost is really, really good. I use him all the time because then you don't need to bring a healer. Then you could just bring in a bunch of damage dealers. Like, it doesn't matter. Point is, if you don't have King Frost, if you're really, really limited and you're starting the game now and you don't already have the first 3, I probably wouldn't start with King Frost, but I do think King Frost is really good, so don't overlook him. But let's actually talk about the 3 new ones. We'll go in reverse order from what I recommend, basically what I don't think you should probably gonna want. The one that I think is probably the least likely to be needed is Lilith, and that doesn't mean Lilith is bad, but what does Lilith actually do? So they have built in a couple, elements and skills, right? They've got an AoE wind, an AoE ice, and a single target curse. You could always learn different skills of ice, wind, and curse. That part is not a big deal. But basically what Lilith or David Bowie's their passive is they get a big attack boost, and then when they use an ice, wind, or curse skill, you increase damage dealt by 30%, and you decrease the damage taken by 10%. This is at max for 2 turns. So just increasing the amount of damage dealt by 30% and having a lot of attack is good. Then you also evolve Lilith's unique skill to deal bonus damage for that attribute, greatly increases the skill's damage, and temporarily increases your pierce rate by 15%. So this all reads pretty good, which is like, I actually think Lilith is good, but I'm just not really sure. Because again, this is like DPS Wonder, and DPS Wonder is not a meme, but I don't know. I don't know if the attacks are there. And let's actually get into it. So Killer Allure. This is an attack that is initially pretty weak. Deal almighty damage to all foes equal to 25% of attack. So 25% almighty, not insanely good, but almighty is good because I believe it might even like pierce defenses. I don't know about that, but it definitely, right, there's no resistance to almighty. Then deal curse damage equal to 37% of attack, but you'll never actually do that. This skill can evolve to Frostbite, Tempest, or Malice to deal almighty damage equal to 25% like before, but then you deal the Ice, Wind, or Curse damage equal to 101% of your attack. So overall, it'd be 126% attack. Now, the only issue with this is it's not clear to me that once this is transformed, it's permanently transformed for the fight, or if you have to like retransform it multiple times. Like, because this, after you use a skill, you increase your damage for 2 turns, and then you evolve the unique skill and temporarily increase your pierce rate by 15%. If you could use this every single turn, like let's say you need to do ice for the coming up fight, then you do this first, so you have a weak first turn, but then for the rest of the turn, you have the rest of the, whatever fight, you have this pretty darn good skill. That is pretty good, combined with the increased attack and the increased whatever percent base damage, and you get the pierce rate, that's going to make you do pretty good damage. But if you have to alternate, where you have to go between this and this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and this, that's not going to be very good, I don't think. But a lot of coverage, but again, I think DPS Wonder is kind of just a meme. Almighty attack to all foes equal to 90% of attack, it's fine. And the one more dual on almighty damage is actually kind of interesting, because it means even if an enemy has like reflect all elements, if you manage to do a 1 more, you would still be able to you can't do a 1 more because they reflect all elements, but the point is nothing resists that. So I think Lilith is a cool, interesting choice, but I think they already also added like a better DPS Wonder potential. But honestly, Lilith might just be a playstyle that I don't really like taking my Wonder in general, but don't shy away, but I don't really recommend them right now. Now, kind of in the same vein, but the one I personally got and I think is the most fun is Yoshitsune here. This is a DPS Wonder persona 100%. No reason to get this besides DPS Wonder. And they've got great stats. So for certain like guild battles, this will probably be like a best in slot for dealing damage with your Wonder. But again, I'm not using DPS Wonder that much, but if you are a DPS Wonder guy, this is definitely going to be one of the ones you want. So most of their stuff is going to be built around their unique skill here. Deal physical damage to all foes equal to 15% of attack. Oh, that's not very much, but you do it 8 times. And you increase the damage by 5% for each foe. So as long as you're fighting 3 foes, I think this does 30%, right? So if this does 30% 8 times, that would be 240%. But if it does 15% 8 times, and then you times that by 1.15, then it would be 138%, because that would be a 15% increase. So I'm not sure exactly which one of those it is, if it's going to be the huge number or the medium number, because when it says this increases damage, I don't know if it means it adds to this or if it's a multiplier at the end of the damage. But basically, you're going to do this. It hits all foes 8 times. It's not one of those attacks where it hits 5 times and it prioritizes, its individual hits. It hits everybody 8 times. Very, very good for characters like the coming up Summer Tomoko, probably, where she cares about putting lots of spark stacks on people. Like, she could target you, gives you some attacks up and shit, and then you need to do the 5 hits, but now Wonder could do the 8 hits. Very, very cool to have such a high hit count. And then that, of course, synergizes well with their own passive here, increasing critical damage by 35%. At the start of battle, you gain 4 Gorilla stacks. When dealing damage with a unique skill, which is the one that you got, does 8 hits, 60% chance to gain Gorilla, and Gorilla increases your attack by 9% for each stack for 2 turns, get stacked up to 8 times, and at 8 stacks, you get a 30% increased critical hit rate for your unique skill. So 9 times 8, that's 72. So you get 72% attack, 30% crit rate, and 35% crit damage once this gets up to 8 stacks, which you probably will be able to maintain because it's hitting 8 times and each of those hits has a 60%. So maybe you'll get a little unlucky. But I think on average, you'll be able to maintain, at least get close, especially when you start with 4, right? You'll be able to hit 8 even if you can't keep it for the whole battle. It's hard to know. But so I think this is going to be just a good generic damage dealing Wonder. Also, like, just look at they've got great resistances, right? No weaknesses, and then 4 resistances. Very, very good persona. But at the end of the day, this persona doesn't do anything besides dealing damage. Like, you could put some support skills on there, but none of this is doing anything besides increasing damage, and this skill is just dealing damage, which again is good for the people that want it, and that's the one I got because it's also exceptionally good with Sepia, the curse boy, because he wants to get, every time you do an instance of damage, he gains a stack, and at 14 stacks he gets to do a follow-up attack, and that is 8 stacks for him every single turn. My favorite persona they've added into the game. No joke. I love it. But the one that I think is probably like the best out of the 3 new ones here is this guy, Chernobog here. Now, I have a little bit of a caveat here because I don't have this one. I don't know exactly how his nightmare stacks work. But we're going to assume that they stack in a favorable way. So first, his unique skill, which is mostly going to be what you're using, deal physical damage to 1 foe equal to 40% of attacks 3 times. So it'll do 120%, and you inflict nightmare. That's apparently a guarantee, or it's at least maybe if it doesn't tell you, maybe that's a 100% base chance, because I've had 100% base chances like miss occasionally. But maybe it's just a visual bug, but it doesn't matter. Point is, inflicts nightmare, then a 9% chance to inflict fear. What is fear? Spiritual ailment. If they can't be inflicted by spiritual ailments, then it sucks, but if they can, it just makes them unable to act, and sometimes they even run. I've never seen an enemy run in this game, so I don't even know if that's possible, but it must be, right? It's just kind of weird. But 3 hits and it inflicts nightmare. That's very good. Why, Plat? What does nightmare do? Let's actually take a look at it. So first, they get ailment accuracy 35%. Which is good for inflicting the fear, but also, like, you could throw in some random skills here just to get some ailment accuracy. Ailment accuracy is kind of like powerful if the foe is susceptible to that kind of stuff. Like, if they can be put to sleep, if you want to, do ailments, right? It's very good to have ailment accuracy in some fights. And then With Nightmare, decrease ailment resistance by 15%. In fact, having like decreasing ailment resistance on a foe, like someone like let's just use Sumi again because he's the one I use a lot. He has like a base 30% chance with one of his verse stacks. Like per verse stack, he has like a 30% chance to apply curse to the enemy. If you decrease their ailment resistances, I believe that'll make that trigger, that 30%, easier to land as well, because increasing his ailment accuracy does increase that chance as well. So I mean, that's just one example, but I'm sure they're decreasing ailment resistance is also just as, it's better than having ailment accuracy probably because it affects the whole team, but also decreases defense by 10% for 2 turns. And I don't know why they put a period, and increases damage taken by foes with Nightmare by 8%. So every 3 times a foe takes physical damage, inflict 1 more stack of Nightmare. So this is what's kind of interesting here. I guess the period is because this is a different passive. It's not part of the Nightmare. So this is how I'm interpreting this. Every stack of Nightmare, up to 3 stacks, will give the foe 15% decreased ailment and 10% defense down. So you'll get 45% ailment resistance down and 30% defense down. And then this part does not stack, is my guess, that you just get 8% increased damage taken by foes with Nightmare by 8%. That doesn't say against this persona, so that's for the whole team. If this stacks and that goes up to 24%, that would be insane. I think that'd be very, very strong, but it's okay. So basically the way this works, when he uses Verdict of Agony, he does 3 hits and inflicts Nightmare. But because he did 3 physical hits, he's also going to do a second stack of Nightmare. So 1 attack without any other support will give them 2 stacks of Nightmare, which will give them a 30% ailment down and a 20% defense down, and increase the damage they take by 8%. Not bad, especially if you have any other physical character, which there isn't a lot. It's only Ryuji, but I believe the next character coming out, this is going to be what this character is for, right? I mean, next character is Summer Tomoko, but after Summer Tomoko, I believe that this guy is probably going to be one of the best in slot for that new persona, because he's going to do a bunch of hits and apply bleed, but they're a bunch of physical hits, so they'll get a bunch of curse stacks on him. Sorry, a bunch of Nightmare stacks on him, and do that. So I think just as far as like, I'm not sure he's like best in slot or anything like that, but as far as debuff persona goes, this feels pretty good. And I believe if you have him and use the attack and then the next turn you switch out of him and they have the Nightmare stacks, that it'll still give them, like, you probably won't get the 6 to 8% increased damage, but they'll still have the lower defense. And if Wonder has another way to lower defense on top of that, like you can, when you get the knockdown, you know, that's one potential. I believe he has other daggers that can lower defense, but it's definitely the one red dagger, right? This one definitely decreases defense, right, by 30%, which doesn't always come up, but here we go. The arc knife can lower foes' defense more, so you can actually get a decent amount of debuffs on the foes. But yeah, so those are the 3 new personas they added. I think that the way this is the order I would take them. Chernobog, okay, that's not true. I took Yoshitsune first, but if I was going to recommend which one's probably the best out of the 3, I mean, it's probably Chernobog, and then Yoshitsune, and then Lilith. I don't know what other people are going to say, but out of those, still my personal, I've had a ton of value out of him because the summer event is on right now, and without Summer Closer, this guy is like actually bad, but he's not. That's because DPS Wonder is not that good, but absolutely a viable Summer Closer replacement on a budget. But still, I still think like King Frost is my favorite out of all 6. Then the last one I would probably get is going to be Bishomonten. Not that he's not good. It's just that like he's good almost. For me, he's just the Makoto support, which is like totally fine. But I'm not using him outside of using Makoto. And because I don't use Makoto that much, or some people don't even have Makoto, I don't think this is like a high priority. I feel like he's very narrow because the only damage dealer in Nuclear, which is what this guy does, is himself. And then it's Makoto, right? Vino could do a little bit of damage, but she's not like on this level. So I think the other ones are a little bit, you know, this is just a generically good support, good damage dealer, good damage dealer, good damage dealer, and then like a good debuffer and maybe a little bit of a damage dealer themselves. So that's what I'm talking about. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? Am I crazy? Are you crazy? Let's figure it out in the comments down below. Anyway, much love for platypuses per platypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye!